we are live. We're going to be breaking down the upcoming potential snow event for the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic here. So come on in as we break down here. If you prefer X, you prefer YouTube, whatever is your preferred viewing station, you can come on in. We are going to have a good time. You can take a look here, right? See YouTube and X, right? We've gained some subscribers here on YouTube recently. So happy that you can come on, all come on in. So whatever is your preferred viewing destination, come in. How are we doing, Jamie? Welcome. Let me just get set up here, get my thumbnail going. And we are live on YouTube and X. So whatever is your preferred viewing destination, come on in here as I get my thumbnail set up here. It doesn't let you do it beforehand from Restream. How are we doing, everybody? How are we doing? Just waiting for people to filter in here and getting ready. I want that death band we had last year that dropped a foot in parts of central Jersey. Was there a foot of snow last year in Jersey? I don't remember there being a foot of snow in Jersey last year. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that IVT there was like double digits, maybe. All right, we are saving. Thumbnail saving. How are we doing, everybody? Kenneth, welcome. Dried Muffin, welcome. Caleb Thompson. How many more runs until we give up? I mean, it's been going pretty positive, my man. So, whole afternoon today has been rather positive, so let's get cooking here. Oh, the February storm. Okay, yeah, that one. Okay, yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, the one I sent out today. I'm hoping that Philly gets in on the snow, says Pat. Me too. Awesome. Let's keep filtering in here again. For those just joining, we are live on, refresh here. We are live here on YouTube and X. You can see we're moving along here, and there's the updated thumbnail. But we are progressing along here on YouTube. But whatever your preferred viewing destination is, come on in, whether it's X or YouTube. All I ask is that you come on YouTube, hit that like button, baby. Hit that like button. Really helps out a lot and helps progresses things, significantly on there, right? The more people we can get, I'm pretty confident that we're not full, we're not clickbait, fake, analysis, right? We do hard, in-depth analysis here. We try to study this stuff and really try to get a good grasp on what's going on. I try to give you guys my honest thoughts of what's happening, right, and separate that from what we want to happen. So that's my goal here. So all that I ask, you come on YouTube, hit that like button, baby. If you're new, consider subscribing, and it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun winter regardless. So come on in. We're going to be doing all the big storms. Let's get cooking here. So with today, 06Z, yes, keep throwing in all your questions right now. We will get to them all. Gosh, how are we doing, my man? Oh man, Ashan, how are we doing? How are we doing, Ashan? So yes, let's get cooking here. So with today, we had some interesting trends. The 06Z run has been notorious for being a poo-poo. So the last few days of 06Z runs have not been great. So we want to try to reverse that with the next 06Z run, because the last few runs have been actually quite fantastic. So I'll go to North America, zoomed out here. We can see that the energy profile here has gotten stronger on our Vort. If you can take a look, notice 12Z, 18Z got real strong, and OZ, we're just not super consolidated quite with a lot of this energy, so it gets kind of spread out. But Bart, how are we doing, my man? How are we doing? Yes, we are looking at potential snowstorm this weekend. Maybe we'll come on, walk with me now, and we'll find out. But again, you're in YouTube. Hit that like button, baby. Helps a lot. Helps a lot. Very much appreciate. If you're wondering how you can help me, if you care at all, it's fine if you don't. You just want the analysis, but hitting that like button helps me a lot on YouTube. So consider helping me out. It's fine if not, but I love you all the same. But with this storm here, we have the strong, right? We have a relatively strong. It's not incredible, but we have a strong vort here. But here's some of the interesting things that we keep seeing. Notice this convection out here. Models keep going back and forth on how much to pull that in. It's really having a trouble decide. If this was way back here, this thing would really amplify here. I mean, I look at this and I'm like, bear with me as my thoughts go all around here. Keep chatting. I will answer all your questions. Um, I will answer all your questions. I promise. So let's keep going here. We just got to break it down completely first. We will discuss long range as well, but that is far out, and we as we saw last time, there's no need to hone in on the long range. But notice our easterly ridge here, the past few runs, 12Z, 18Z, stronger, OZ, right? So what we're looking at here on the this easterly ridge here up here in Atlantic, Canada, this is pretty interesting, and this is something we've been talking about for days now, and this easterly ridge here is building back in further west, and this is exactly what we need. Exactly what we need. The only thing else we can ask for right now, in terms of trends, is really to get this westerly ridge to back off. And it was weaker this run, so that's one way you can do it too. A weaker westerly ridge will not press on this storm as much. So even if we're not taller with our ridge, it will at least not press as much on our storm. So that's one thing we notice if you look at the difference between the OZ GFS and there's 12Z, there's 18Z. You can see we changed the orientation. You see in our westerly ridge was beautiful, was farther north. You can see the tilt in our ridge here, which we want. We want this ridge to continue to tilt this way as much as possible, so our trough here again can sit as much into this as possible. So we want those westerly height lines to back up a little bit more. We have a easterly ridge, it's just maybe a little bit too much. New Hampshire long shot. Stick with me here and we'll talk about it. Stick with me here. Stick with me. Keep asking all your questions. I will get to them. I promise. Keep them firing. Keep them firing, baby. Hit that like button in the YouTube. Helps a lot. X. Keep doing what you're doing, ladies and gentlemen. We will read all the comments. Philly. Yes, we'll talk about Philly. Inverted trough stuff. Northern Mid-Atlantic. We're going to talk about you as well. And New York City. We're going to talk about you. We're talking about everybody. I promise. But we got to break down the synopsis here. What's going on? And so, as 0Z, 18Z, you can see how much stronger our ridge was, and our height lines kind of collapsed here all of a sudden on this run. It's a real drastic change on our westerly ridge, which didn't actually, in fact, impact it too much here. But what we did do on that easterly ridge was very important as well. So it go 18Z, OZ, right? So the more, again, this easterly ridge builds in, the better, and the more we can tilt our ridge like this, the better as well, because the more we can build back in the ridge here, this weakness here, it turns out we've gotten closer, and this is so close to being separated. I mean, if you separate here at this frame, it's a significant snowstorm here. If you separate at that frame, it's a significant snowstorm. You can see it's about one frame too late, maybe 1 to 2 frames too late. So if you can be here, about right here, it changes the whole ball game. It changes the whole ball game. You dig this thing in deeper, and you're going to consolidate all this energy here off to the east. I think one big thing on the OZ GFS here. Let me slide it to 500 here. I do have my water tonight, so happy about that. But one thing we do have working with us tonight here on the GFS is, I think GFS is the worst model when it comes to convective feedback issues. It is the worst model by far. I guess maybe the icon and all those crappy, but out of the major, like in terms of, like the Euro, GFS, I guess those are really the only two real big ones. those are the convective feedback. Wow. Shout out everybody in the YouTube. Hit that like button, baby. The biggest convective feedback thing I look at is this right here, and this is a major wild card right here as well. We're going to talk about this piece as well. This piece here is a wild card because I will say one thing: the reason you look and you see like it's like rain and then like gets colder is because a lot of your cold air, right, is associated with this polar vortex and like this piece here, and that's where a lot of your cold air comes in. So it really wouldn't be a concern for like interior places, but it would be maybe for some coastal, like that's a very, but if you continue to get stronger, it really doesn't become too much of a scenario. But if you see like some weird looks on the P-type map, that's part and why, because remember, this is warm, warm air here, this convection pulling in, so that's not a cold air source. So the more that wraps into our system, that's more warm air. Then eventually the stuff wraps around. But if you slow this down enough, then the cold is not too much of a problem. So temperatures are not too much of a concern with this event. And then eventually on the backside, it actually ends up getting pretty cold. But you can see the P-type map there, right? I'm not too concerned about that, but why it looks maybe a little messy and rain, that's kind of why. But thermals on the globals are going to be poo-poo regardless, especially. So when we're looking at this stuff. So don't be all too caught up too much about what we're looking at with that. But here on the GFS, what we've done here is typically when I look at this, I'm like, dang, it wants to get this energy, it wants to get it to consolidate somewhere around here, an upper level low, and now you have an upper level low that wants to consolidate somewhere just south of Nantucket. And so I look at that and I'm like, that's typically where you want to see. The problem is we're a little bit too progressive with the flow. We need to go negative, and we need to slow the system down. We need to go negative about 1 or 2 frames earlier right now. So you're close, and you're in a spot 3 days out where you can get potentially a snowstorm, but it is not. But it is not somewhere. You're not in a spot right now where you can be like, where we're there. We're not there yet. We're not there yet, especially given we've a trend. Did we just max out a trend potentially? And this is going to go back tomorrow? We'll see. But you're getting real close now. If we look at the P-type map, because that's how people best recognize it, 12Z, 18Z, and then OZ, you can see like and if we go back here, just the past, we go to 500, I go back to, let's go to 70 hour 78. We go to the past 7 runs here, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Last 7 runs going back to yesterday. Take a look here. We go to boom, 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 boom. We're pulling this storm in. So even though we're not sinking our trough more in some of these runs, what we are doing is we're wrapping this energy up sooner here, and that is going to allow you, for people especially in southern New England, to get in. Now, if you were to do this enough, the real thing is here, you would have to sink this trough a little bit more for this to be a mid-Atlantic event. It's too late. It's too late for this to be like I don't consider Jersey South Atlantic, but it's too late. You gotta go 1 to 2 frames earlier. You gotta go 2 frames earlier for this to even have a chance here in the mid-Atlantic. But here's the thing, we still have all this energy that needs to work through here, and these isobars will invert some. So there is going to be some inverted trough. IVT is what I've been calling it. There's going to be some inverted trough potential here, and that is going to allow for those isobars invert. I'm going to use the P-type map because you can see it clearly. But notice here, those isobars invert here. You can see away from the main low pressure system. You see the inversion here in these isobars. I would say this would be even a little bit further south than where it shows up, but it allows places maybe like Pennsylvania, New Jersey, DC, Northern Maryland, Delmarva. It potentially allows for a little bit of inverted trough potential, and it gives you an opportunity to potentially get in here. So again, remember when we forecast, right? We forecast for what's going to be happening the day of. We're going to be forecasting for the day of the event, not what models show now. What models show now is the snowstorm that's a near miss. But what models showed yesterday, if you want to use the P-type map as a reference, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what models showed yesterday, 7 runs ago. That's where models were at with the P-type map. Here is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? There's the 7-run trend there. So that gives you just an idea for potentially where we're at here. And so like I get, like, people get skeptical or whatever, because when people don't see it on the snow map, it's just what happens. They get very skeptical. And so now, and we've trended a significant amount now, and you can see now your storm is in sight for southern New England. There's your 700 right there. That's a lot of heavy snow, and it's just offshore by about 150 miles, maybe slightly more. So it's right there. You're close, but you have to keep the trend going. And the big thing is too, right? You talk about when let's use the football example. When your team is on offense, what's a big thing you look for on first down is not getting a negative play, or just at any point. Don't get negative plays. Don't lose yards. So right now, when we're trying to we're trying to continue the trend over the past couple of days, that northwest trend. In order to do that, one thing when we're looking at here is you need to not have negative plays. So we can't reverse. We don't have a lot of room to go back and revert trend. Maybe as we get closer, if we really have something. But right now, we need to at least, especially this 06Z run has been, notorious for kind of reversing the trend. You need to slide it back. You need to not slide it back, and you need to keep this moving forward at least, even if it's just a little tick. Get a positive play, and it makes a big difference. At 500, every little tick you get shows up a lot more at the surface. This was not a major run-to-run shift here. Look at this. This was not a major run-to-run shift, but it played a part. Now, I put out this tweet earlier. If I go here, go to profile. If I go here, I said this piece. I tweeted. Reggie was interesting too. We can talk about that. This is an important detail, and I want to put emphasis on because it plays a factor. It plays a factor. This partial stream interaction here is key, right? This is all, especially here. It's a bunch of cold air too that gets sooner into your system. That can help with ratios. That's a real minor detail in terms of talking about that. But this right here can help in strength. If you can get a little bit more of a stream interaction and not be closed off completely, can allow to potentially enhance the system, or it could potentially push the system, make it broader, and delay potentially your interaction. But one thing that can negate that from happening as well is, again, your easterly ridge here. If I go back to 500, I like it here better. Go to 500 height anomalies. You'll notice 18Z, 12Z, 6. I don't know what 6 was. 6 had a little bit stronger, I guess, but different. So 12Z, 18Z, OZ, a stronger west easterly ridge there, and it makes it not only does it push your storm further west here, but also builds in these height lines more up here, and it allows you to potentially get a storm there. So yeah, it makes it really interesting. And also a little PSA I put out. I put out this where is this tweet? I'm sorry, I have to get this off. I put off. Is it this? Where was it? Where was it? Where was it? It's a good reminder that if you just want to troll, I'm just going to mute or block you. I don't have time to deal with you. So there's, whoever, there's a person who's come into my comments for years now, like every once in a blue moon, and like just anytime there's starts getting notable, he like has something to completely like just be contrarian and like state why it's not going to be that. And you know who you are, and you've been doing it for years now, and I just had enough. So you know who you are. But there's plenty of other people who like do other stuff like that, and it's just annoying. It's just annoying. Like no, like it's just annoying. So I just mute and I block because I don't need that. I got enough. I got enough crap to going on in my life already. I don't need your stuff as well. So it's just like ridiculous. Like the fact that that's the only thing you comment like every time, and like you're like a respected like meteorology person as well. So it's just annoying, but I needed to get that off my chest. Sorry for the negativity, but I had to. It's just annoying. I just had enough of it. But so yeah, PSA, if you want to troll, I'm not going to see your comments. I'm not going to reply to your comments most of the time, or block you. I don't like blocking, but if I have to. So yeah, I appreciate everybody here in the YouTube chat. Let's keep this going. Like that stream, baby. Let's keep rolling here. Let's keep it rolling. Like that stream. Subscribe if you are new. We got to keep this going, man. We got something. We got something we're tracking here. So it's a big. It's a a big thing here. Yeah. Boom. All right. Sorry, that's the heater. Don't worry about that. Should cancel that out some. So let's break down the euro here. You can see there's 18Z and there's 12Z, 18Z. And what we have here was again another shift. This is the 18Z euro, 18Z euro as well, 12Z, 18Z, and you can see here, right? Boom. Again, consolidating this convection here further north. The more we can wrap in this convection here, farther right, wrap in this convection north instead of east, right, the more it can allow the trough to catch this here and consolidate the upper level low. So that it's again, it's a key point here is all this convection here off the coast is a factor. The euro doesn't even really wrap any of that. If I go to North America, zoom down here, it doesn't even really wrap any. It wraps some, a little bit, wraps some of this right here. The euro doesn't really wrap any of that, so that's interesting as well to keep an eye on. That's something we definitely have to keep an eye on. So the euro is right there as well. It's a little bit delayed. I don't know, where is this OZ? Let's see, 6Z if you care for P-type maps at all. 12Z, 18. It's kind of been all over the place. So it's hard to say. So boom, yeah. So that again, we're a few days out. We don't have it's not currently showing a storm. But again, if you wrap this sooner, then you're able to get a snowstorm. All right, had enough of you, my man. Sorry, I think you're the person who I was talking about. So uh, I clearly mattered, I guess. You think models do models under doing the precip shield? Maybe, it's possible. Let's read off some comments here. Let's read off some comments. Do you think the models are underdoing the? It's possible. It's possible. Canadian Christmas. Yeah, we'll look at Christmas as well. It's a great warm shot post Christmas, less potent. Yeah. Like I put out like the tweet. It was like like someone said like, do you live in the stratosphere? It's like, no, I know we don't live in the stratosphere. If you've watched any of my streams, or content, that we've talked about this before. Literally talked about it with this sudden stratospheric warming event. There are effects. It doesn't mean it's major. And so again, it's not a massive warming event, but it is significant. It's going to weaken the polar vortex some again. It actually might end up being a positive. All I said was it might delay the cool down in January, just a, or not the cool down, but potential the favorable winter pattern we could be having in January. It just might delay that by just a little bit, and that's all really I was trying to say. Like it doesn't take a genius to figure out that late December into early January might be a little it might be warmer. Uh, yes, models are looking interesting. CAD Christmas. Yeah, we'll talk about. I'll look at Christmas after. I really all my attention really is on this right now. So I'm not really too interested in that, but not yet. I mean, I do care, but Ashna said, how can we get Boston, New York City corridor more involved? How you can do that is you stronger easterly ridge, tilt your westerly ridge further north, north and east, so it can allow these height lines to build in here, trap your trough sooner, and allows to sink in further southwest as well. So you get a better timing. Your energy gets better timed up to do an earlier phase, and it may not be a complete phase, but at least a significant partial phase, and allows you to do. You want to go. You really want to be here about 2 frames earlier, to even 3 maybe for New York City. For Boston, you have a higher margin barrier here. And also for you, like saying, for the people like that are trolling and like it's like too or what like I know like you're saying something that's like like sounds knowledgeable, but like you're still trolling in the sense that like like I'm clearly stating why my idea is, and you're just not even addressing it, and you're purposely not trying to just to make your point heard. And that's just like another form of trolling. And also, I'm going to keep talking about this even if this is the final result, because there's going to be an inverted trough potentially here as well. And I've talked about this. So it's just I mean I don't know what to tell you. It's same as that. Long Island has a chance, yes, to get something out of this. Has a chance. Long Island could be in a tough spot. If this were like the final, don't focus on this is not what the end result is going to be right here. Exactly this. But if this were like a coastal scraper and you had inverted trough, Long Island would kind of get caught in the middle and miss out. So it'd be kind of tough. It'd be kind of tough there. Uh, is the timing out of Logan impact by Sunday evening? I think this is it. Yeah, it should be out Sunday evening. Maybe some ocean effect, possibly. But Sunday evening it should be out. Yeah. Let me read some of the X comments. I'm. I was on the northern. Okay, that was beginning. That wasn't that. To be fair, February 16th, 17th. I don't think there was a. There isn't. I don't think there was a 14-inch clipper last year. I think wasn't that like February 5th, 14th, 15th, whatever. No, you're not the biggest Canadian fan, but the OZ was disappointing. Yeah, I'm not a big Canadian guy anyway, so I'm not too concerned what that showed. Yeah, this is not a negative NAO, and it might miss, but it will be close at a minimum. Not that anybody cares about being close. Uh, AI model signaled the storm for like 10 days out. Yes, it's done a it's has not waffled as much back and forth as the others, and you got to give the GraphCast and AI credit for that for sure. Bart, respectfully, oh, look at that. Mike and Bart responding to each other respectfully. Love to see it. Noah asks, why does trapping a trough allow a storm to come up north phase? Is that when it becomes a cutoff low? The reason we need to trap this sooner, it looks like we might trap it, at least briefly. We could briefly trap it. We won't do it for long because of the polar vortex, and it's gonna knock the easterly ridge out of the way. But the reason we need to do it, we slide here to 500 and we slide to heights, is because we'll go to North America here. Is because this is the polar vortex here, and this is having direct influence. And so these height lines are dragging positive. See how these height lines are moving differently than from here? These height lines are tilting negative, but these height lines are tilting positive. So it's widening out our trough more, and it's shearing out this convection out ahead, not allowing it to consolidate further south and west. And so it's delaying our strengthening process, and that's why at the end of the day we still may not be able to do enough to get this, to come back far enough. So nobody can have an opinion. No, that's not it. There's a difference between an opinion. I think that guy was someone from earlier who was on X, who has been trolling the person who trolling me for years. I might be wrong. If I was wrong, I'll undo it for next time. But that wasn't random. That wasn't random. Yes, you can have an opinion. There's a difference between an opinion and trolling. Nova Scotia. Yeah, Nova Scotia is definitely somewhere to watch for this one. Nova Scotia has the highest margin for error right now for sure. So does Delmarva. Does South Jersey still have a chance, or should we start giving up? You do have a chance because of the inverted trough. I think you're at play to get something here, because these isobars are going to invert here. The isobars kind of invert a little bit out, and allows an inverted trough to get involved. Now, the stronger this storm is and consolidate, the weaker the inverted trough likely is. In your inverted trough, and then also would be a little bit further west. It would be further. It would be earlier. So you see how these invert out to here, kind of. So you're throwing back this precipitation back here. So you get inverted trough. You get some light to moderate snow that breaks out for a prolonged period of time, and it allows you to get some accumulating snow. All right, if you don't think so, then. All right, if you know so much, Louis, then he's welcome back then. But it's on you, my man. And I don't know how you even know who I'm talking about, because I didn't call him out. Would love to get southeastern New Hampshire to get involved. I would love to. Southeastern New Hampshire gets involved, that means I get involved. So I would love for that to happen. So there's the GFS. Here is the NAM for those that care. I mean, the NAM really wraps everything up. It consolidates your energy, and this is a look for actually a storm here. I would look at it and say this area is going to get into a snow event. But again, you still have kind of some convective feedback issues, and it kind of wraps everything just too late out here. So you're unable to really get to consolidate your precip, over this area. But that's a snake tongue look. I look at that and I say, that's where that wants to form. You can see your upper level low. And you're so close, man. You're so close. See on that NAM there. I see how the precip, it doesn't really come in until late, and that's it. So does Delmarva to South Jersey still have a chance, or should we start? No, I shouldn't say that. Yeah, guys. I mean, I keep saying it. Like, I don't know how many different ways I can say it. The solution you have now is not going to be what we have like 3 days from now. The solution we have right now is not going to be the same we have tomorrow on models. So like I know I've seen all the comments about what this may not be the last like 5 days or whatever. I've seen them all. I've seen them all. Like I'm fully aware of what they're showing. Guys, I've looked at like all these model runs like too much for the last 5 days. I know exactly what they're showing. I know exactly what they're showing. Okay, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I can clearly see what the models are showing now. And yes, this is not a snowstorm for New England at this time, at what models are currently showing. But if you continue to do trends like you have over the past couple of days, and you'd continue to do those for the next couple of days, you would very much be in play, especially for southern New England, to get a snowstorm. I don't know how much clearer like I can make my point on that. And my tone is what it is because it's like been like a consistent amount of people like saying like it's like do you know exactly how like even if you're right like saying like it's going to be late, it's like okay, but I'd be an idiot to look at this and be like I should just completely ignore it and not track it. I've tracked way too many of these now. Like I've tracked way too many of these like over the years to be like oh this is there's no shot. Nothing is happening, and like it's pointless. It's stupid. It would be stupid of me to do that. So yeah, I'm gonna highlight, and we like snow, so I'm gonna talk about more of how we can get snow. It doesn't mean we're getting a snowstorm. I have not once, I have not once guaranteed a snowstorm over the past of the past 5 days or whatever. I have never not once done that. But I like snow, and the people that follow me for the most part like snow too. So that's what I talk about. So I don't know what you want me to talk about. It's like it storm's over, and that's it. 3.5 days out, storm's over. It's not happening. Sorry, guys. Like, there's no point in me doing that. It may not happen. It may not happen. But that's exactly why I stream. That's why I do it. And if you don't understand that at this point, then you're maybe not the right person to be coming viewing this. I'm highlighting like all the different things that can happen. And if there weren't so many comments that were suggesting this over the past few days, I wouldn't be talking about it like this in that sense over the past my little rant there over the past couple minutes. But it's literally been one version of another to explain why, and I understand. It's like that's your opinion. That's great. That's great. But if you keep repeating your opinion, even though you know my strategy and how I'm doing things, then it's like it's just annoying. It's pointless. So again, I appreciate everybody that's in here right now, uh, here on YouTube and X. Hit that like button, baby, on YouTube. It helps a ton, a ton, a ton. So I appreciate it very much. Let's keep breaking things down. Let's look at the ensembles here. I've not looked at the ensembles yet on the GFS, so let's take a look here. Again, the ensembles can be super helpful at this point too to like, give some context of what we're looking at down the line. So let me look at the height anomalies here. Vort is super hard. Connecticut chances, they're there, but again, you need some changes that still need to happen. So again, similar to the op here, a little bit weaker with that westerly ridge and a little bit stronger with the easterly ridge, or at least a little bit further west. And that's about it on the changes. The pattern supports, I mean, it's not about I mean, I don't really care too much about the pattern. Like when we're this close to a storm, I just care about the pieces on the table. I look more at the pattern for a storm when we're pretty far out, but Not for this. You don't need a perfect pattern to get a snowstorm. That's a really big misconception. Like, this is a full negative. This is a full positive NAO right here, and yet we're tracking something. So we do have this favorable westerly ridge here. That's helping us out. May hurt us too much because it's too strong potentially, but there's that. Look at the ensembles here. Yeah, I don't know. Anomalous warm. The water temps off the coast actually aren't. I've gone as warm as people think they are, especially off. If I go here, ocean analysis, choose another region, North Atlantic. You can see. Oh, I need anomalies. Choose another region, North Atlantic. You can see they're not like they're not as like they're. You have this stretch here, but you can see there's cooler mix. It's not like a full on. Yes, out here in the main development region, yes, they are above average, but just off the east coast, there's a cool bubble and a warm bubble right off the coast. So let me look at the Jeffs here, and then I'm gonna go to, let's see, multi-member. Let's go to panels. Oh, I gotta zoom in. Let's look at the Jeffs. Go to U.S. regions. Go to New England, and then go to panels. Some hits there. There's a lot of close misses. There's actually some hits as well too. These are the Jeffs. Remember, less members on here than the Euro does. There's definitely some hits though, for sure. Snow totals, all member. I mean, look at the amount of southeastern New England hits on this run. There's a good amount here. That is definitely, compare that to 18Z. I mean, you didn't get the big member 4 on that one. But there's definitely amount of more consistent runs here, closer. I have here. And again, ideally, you would like to see some more runs here, but we're not there yet. Remember the mean. Remember, a lot of these models are still, off to the east, or still off the coast, a little bit too much. And it's not like we had a massive run-to-run shift either, so that should be noted at 18Z or at 0Z as well. So low pressure. These can be deceiving, but we'll take a look. Not all that different. Just a bigger spread. That was basically it. He had a couple more lean this way, a couple more lean this way, a couple more lean this way. Just a bigger spread there at OZ. If you're looking at the L's, but those can be deceiving oftentimes. Not a massive change on the Jeffs from 18Z to 0Z, but we'll still see there's definitely a good amount of southeastern New England hits there. If you look at those panels, I don't know. You can look at this surface winter. This one isn't too important always, but you can look at it and see. Build it out there. About the same. Old less there was that. I mean, that big run kind of skewed the 18Z there over southeast New England. That big old run, so pulled back a little bit, but you can see this is why I look at consolidated more. This pushed further northwest here, but that consolidated further west. So you got to keep an eye on Maine for this too now. Keep an eye on Maine right here, eastern Maine, to potentially get on it too. They might have the highest margin of error with this system. I appreciate you, Jamie. It supports a bigger storm. The question is, where does it phase? I think that's a valid point. You know, I would say based on history, models are gonna struggle. If we were to keep where we are at a minimum, I'd say convective feedback issues make it a really close call. If models were to be where they are now, I think you see that on the NAM, and that's the most obvious is, yes, we are progressive, but an upper level low that close. I mean, I look at that typically, and I'm like, dang, that should be really close. And the P-type map does not look. I'm telling you that NAM run was incredible. Again, it's long range NAM, so you should use it with significant caution when you're looking at the long range NAM, but still does relay an interesting point for sure. Keeps in perspective. In the Reggie, take a look at that. Reggie was full on an actual hit. It ends up getting, let's see. It's kind of interesting where the Reggie, uh, you can see, pulls up. It's not able to actually consolidate that upper level low, but it pulls in enough energy here off. You can see that convection that's pulling in, and it's able to pull this in a little bit sooner here and push, and the orientation here and your upper level low is trying to amplify. And so you get a convergence zone right here over southern New England, and you're able to get a moderate snowfall event. It's an actual hit on the Reggie. It's just not a big one. You can see that upper level low just fails to consolidate though, until too late. Just a little too late. Ideally, you want that 540 line to match a little bit better with your trough. And the sooner that happens, that's really a good indicator when you're looking at here on the models. And so that plays a part. So, oh yeah. So I mean, we're close here with some of these. Patriots son, you think it comes close? You think this hits? I don't know. I might be able to. We'll see. UKMET is a math. All right, we can look at the Yuki. A lot of you guys love the Yuki. I don't know why, but they did throw the P-type map for whatever reason on there now. Is the UKMET? I get the UKMET here. What is the biggest thing that needs to improve of a hit in southern New England? Man, someone asked me that question last night, or it was more general, but uh, yeah, the Yuki is a bomb. You see how that 540 line goes farther into the base of the trough here? I mean, your easterly ridge is a lot. It really pulls in that convection pretty well. Yeah, the Yuki is a bomb. Yuki's close too. Yuki's a bomb just offshore. Where's that? Yeah, it really wraps in the cold air well too. Yuki's dang close, man. I don't know. Again, at a minimum, even though this is you have these height lines that are progressive here, that's pushing down on this system in a sense, and flattening this out a little bit, making our trough broader. Uh, Again, if you have, regardless of what you got going on up here, if you have a cleaner energy consolidation process, meaning your vorticity is able to consolidate more efficiently and sooner, regardless of what happens up here, this is going to amplify sooner, and you'll sharpen your trough, and you'll dig a bit better. So regardless, all right, my man, you keep saying the same thing. Like, did you not listen to what I was talking about earlier? Like, it's not that complicated. It's not that complicated. I forecast for the day of the storm, not for 3.5 days out. 50 miles east. It can be more than that, my man. Every change you do at 500 is like a much bigger tick at is a much bigger tick on the surface. It's a much bigger tick on the surface. It shows up more on the surface. Like, Right? It's more than a 1-to-1 ratio for what happens at 500 and how it affects what you see at the surface. So if you like consolidate this here and like say here to here, and that's like say 50 miles, then like the surface will be like 80 plus miles. That's just an example. But when is the next runs come out? The Euro is coming out right now. Should be. The Euro's weird, man. Sometimes it's been loading out already. Other times it hasn't been. So the Euro should be about to try. Should be coming out soon. When is the next run coming out? Yeah. Sorry, I just answered that. Biggest thing for Southern New England. Um, when I look at this here for Southern New England, I say, come on, what's going on? Oh, OZ just initialized, so we now have OZ Euro is now coming out. The biggest thing I look at here for Southern New England. I don't know. It's hard to nail it down to one thing. I'll use it as one term. I'll use it as one term. Ridging. I think ridging might end up being the biggest thing. The placement of your easterly and your westerly ridge here, and the strength will be critical. Will be critical. If this easterly ridge is pushing further west, especially up here at the top, it forces your height lines to come up sooner, and it prevents precip from being lost out to the east. It forces precip to go farther north. So if you do that, that's great. And then we saw that. We saw it come further north, almost the precip, and that was the change you saw at that was the change you saw. You see how it comes further north more, basically, some of this precip, and in doing so, it pushes it further west a little bit too, because you're not going to lose as much precip out here later. It's going to catch up sooner. So if you did that enough, you could maybe get things to work your way. But I think you're going to need some cooperation here with your western ridge as well. You need this to either weaken a little bit more, or again, the angle and the height lines stronger up here as well. So the more it can push and prevent these height lines pressing so much. The more the blue presses, bad. That's how I phrased it last night. More blue pressing, bad. And so the more you can allow these to back off a little bit more, especially here at the bottom, this can allow your trough to sink in a little bit more, allow this 540 line to look more connected to the base of your trough, and you're going to amplify your storm sooner. And in doing so, you'll get a stronger storm. But again, you do the opposite of everything I just said. This thing goes out. This thing is too late, and it goes off to sea. And at best, maybe it's a outer Cape Cod, maybe in Nova Scotia, gets to rub it in our face. That's kind of the situation potentially at hand. Bart says, meanwhile, I'm looking forward to tomorrow night. Yes, Maine. Let me talk about that briefly. I would be a dummy not to talk about that. So tomorrow night comes through, then weaker and weaker. So it's going to pull up less warm air because it's shedding. You can see the trough here. It's shedding this kind of, leaving this behind to work with our. This is our system back here. So it's leaving it behind to work with that. Maybe again, that's a key part for that system. But this comes through, and it produces, a good maybe 3 to 6 potentially, maybe a little bit more or less in some regions. But Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and New York are the main spots here. So right here on the models is where I'm looking at for potential. Maybe northern western Mass, those higher elevations get involved. But your cold air is too far behind. You see your high pressure, it's too far behind to work with So you're not able to collapse this rain snow line southeast enough, especially with your low pressure system being right on top of you as well. Just a little too late to the party. Your cold air is, and so that does strengthen and gets wrapped into the polar vortex soon enough, and then in behind it again comes your next storm. So here's another thing: the sooner that this storm gets out of there, the sooner this storm gets. You really want this as weak as possible. I know, Bart, you want snow tomorrow, but the weaker you do make this storm, in doing so, the more that easterly ridge is going to build back in, and you can see your high pressure over here. The more your high pressure builds back in, and it makes it difficult. This storm is going to work right through that high pressure, but the more it can again slow it down. So that's, these two storms are playing a part with each other. Absolutely, absolutely. These two are very connected. Kevin says, ever since the February storm last year, I believe anything is possible with last-minute model shifted way south. Yeah, this was all right, and this was the post too that got me going here. I was like, you can tell me like the bulk of the storm like isn't gonna hit, like your opinion, like Louis, you're stating your opinion. That's perfectly fine. But you like keep repeating it, like just like to make your like to like like prove something that has. It's like sorry, all right. It's like you don't need to continue to like I get it. I heard your point of view. But like there's someone like that just annoying. I just has done it for years now. I have no connection. I have no clue. Never talked to them whatsoever. But like my point was, and I've been talking about this. I haven't said a snowstorm is coming. I've just said watch for one. What did the Euro end up saying? I don't know. I'll have to say hi to it in a second. But with this, my point. This was January 2022, and I remember this one. It came right after there was back-to-back north. There was back-to-back westerly trends. The one before the Mid-Atlantic. Anybody in here remembers? You got like 10 to 16 inches, pretty widespread, and then there was also there was also this one right behind it, and models were so behind on everything. They were so behind. So this ended up coming in and producing a salt again, like another it was a wide swath of like 8 to 12 plus inches across southern New England into Long Island. They're thinking in the Mid Atlantic got hit as well for a moderate event on the lighter side. But my point was this was you can see 5 days and then 4 days. Even look where you are here. The pause. Pause this. Pause it. Look at that. This was 4.5 days out. That was 4.5 days out. That was what models were showing. 4.5 days out. And look at that right there. That is 4 days out right there. And that was a boom, just like that. So my point was, like, you can, like, again, it's fine if you don't think this storm's gonna happen. It's fine. I don't know if this thing is gonna happen. I've never said that. I've never said that. I'm not going to either. I don't have a good feel. My biggest bet is that inverted trough is happening. That's what I'm most confident in. That's what I've been saying for a couple days now. So don't mix up. I've made my wording very clear. Just because we talk about the stuff more, that's what's more interesting. That's it. That's why we're talking about it. Because if a big storm does hit and I didn't mention it all, I would look like an absolute idiot. And I don't enjoy that. And also, I like tracking. It's fun for me. That's why people follow me on here on YouTube and X. So not much more to look into it than that. I was just making the point that models aren't accurate. And this was a great example to use of not only one, but two in the same week where we saw it happen. That's all my point was. And then you take it out of context and you just, as much of you that are awesome on here, there are a few of you that very much annoy me. But it's okay. It comes back to the weather, and I love that. So appreciate it a lot. Again, YouTube, if you're here sticking with me, consider hitting that like button. It helps a ton here on YouTube. So I appreciate you all on X. And Bart wants the happy medium. So hopefully you can get that as well. It's starting to roll out here a little bit. going to pull in that southern board. I already know that. It's going to pull in that southern board a little bit more. So you might see something like the GFS here. Another similar change here on the euro where this gets pulled in more a little bit and gets wrapped into the flow. So you may not see huge westerly shift, but you see like a northwest shift kind of on the model run. So we'll see that. We'll look at the EPS as well. We'll break that down. So we're saying hi to the euro right now. This is what it's currently saying. It's still going to take, it loads out very fast now, I will say, but it does take a while. You can see it did jump from hour 30 to 51, so it's still very much loading out right now. Yes, biggest X chat, biggest X stream of the season so far. Very happy for that. Again, we're tracking this. It's possible. There is definitely something that could hit here, especially for southern New England, and then the inverted trough potential that comes with this for Pennsylvania, Jersey, Delmarva, and New York. So we're looking at that. Do I think there could be a double IVT? So let me talk about that. I think there could be a double inverted trough here, where in comes behind it. Again, the P-type map, I just use this to best demonstrate the inverted trough. It's very easy to demonstrate on the precipitation type map. So we could see a double area where it's almost a little Canadian-like. So right here, you get northwest flow over the mountains here. You get inverted trough here. These isobars extend. And then maybe even if this goes, let's say this pushes back out, maybe you get another convergent zone somewhere in here or out here, and you're able to, and you'll be further north as well. You'll be closer to the storm too, so you might be able to still get you saw the Euro run from 2 nights ago. That Euro run best demonstrated what that would look like with the storm further offshore. Even if this goes further offshore, you still have inverted trough potential here, and you can see that almost kind of fill in here in this area. Bulk is out here, but you're still getting snow all the way out here. So that's why I'm going to continue to talk about this, and that's why it has to be seen through all the way. So there's a double IVT here when we're talking about this. And again, I'm going to show you here 700 Vord just to give some perspective. I mean, you can see some of those, and you just got to, if you can wrap this stuff in, if you're able to wrap this in, this changes the game completely. This changes, it's such a wild card. It's so close, but so far at the same time. And how models hand this run, it's a super big wild card. It's a super big wild card here, where if you're able to wrap this in, this continues to pull the wrap more. You might broaden your trough a little bit more initially, but you're going to go a lot more vertical sooner, and it's more energy you're able to consolidate, and you're going to see a dynamic wrap happen. You'll see a dynamic wrap happen here of our energy, and you're going to see a stronger system earlier, which will be able to make things a lot more interesting. And look how close, I mean, man, it's not close enough now, which we've clearly stated. But we're forecasting this as if it's the future, because it is the future. This is not now. This is 78 hours out, clearly, over 3 days out. This would be heavy snow right here on 700. It's always when you're looking at 700, it's always going to be west, just west. This is not where the band is. It's just to the northwest, just always on 700. When you're looking at 700 relative is different, but 700 before, it's always just to the west. So this is where the heavy snow, I might have drawn it a little too big, but this is where the heavy snow is setting up. I'm trying. Let me zoom in. United States, bring me to you. Come on now. Vamos. Boom. Right here. This area right here, that's where the heavy snow is showing. And even you see some little bit of a lighter, moderate snow break out So you have some dynamics, and especially here in eastern Mass, you get some snow on this run specifically. You're dang close. You're dang close. I don't care what your opinion is. No, don't take this the wrong way for anybody that doesn't think that's going to happen. But I don't care what your opinion is. I'd be a fool to look at this. That's the GFS. That's I guess that's OZ. That's close too. It's just better dynamics. Consolidates that sooner. I'd be a fool to look at that and be like, no, there's nothing coming. Like I'd be such a foolish thing for me. Like I have no reason to do that. And we focus on. I'm not a traditional meteorologist, so I don't need to do a TV broadcast for this. I can do my own. I have my own platform here, which is awesome. See, typically I would look at this and be like, this is gonna, this is too far. But you see how we're progressive still here. The 540 line's tilted positive, even though you're at the base of your trough. You're like towards neutral, but you're still tilting positive here with your trough. That's a strong 500 millibar forward look too. That's a strong upper level low that develops here. And I mean, we go to 0Z, 18Z. We did it again, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Euro. We did it again. So it was 06, 12 goes back, 18 we pull it in, OZ we pull it in again. It's exactly what you want to see on the Euro if you want a snowstorm in southeastern New England, and it's still not there yet. That's a fantastic trend that you love to see on the Euro. The last mini trend. You specify. Yes, I'm showing the people. I'm showing the people. I know it's beautiful, Mike. I'm showing it right now. It's amazing. I need to clip this. Believe it or not. Look at the 700. Look how well that consolidates just offshore. Oh, yeah, yeah, baby. Look at that. You even get the band here. It looks like too. But man, you consolidate. You wrap this up. You're about 2 frames late on the Euro from an all-out southern New England snowstorm. Man, why won't this update? Come on, OZ. Update P-type. Come on. It's updated. What a run on the Euro. Yeah, that's exactly what you want to see there on the Euro. I mean, you look at this and you just got to dig that 540 just a little bit sooner. That's it. Still a little too late. Still a little too late. That's almost NAM-like. That's almost NAM-like. You go to NAM here. NAM 12K. What hour did I choose? North America zoomed out. NAM 66, 78. Let's go to hour 78. That's NAM-like. Look at that. That's very close to the NAM. The NAM is a little bit of a tighter wrap, but the Euro consolidates that convection out here a little bit better. See that? If I slide here on the Euro, look at that. Consolidates that a little bit better. It gets it out ahead more, at least. It gets it out ahead more on the Euro out here. That's one of your changes. Yes, the Euro did trend west again. Oh, come on. That's just a tease right there. But you can see on the P-type map, it shows it as well. It's somewhat notable. In the beginning, it's harder to see, but let me get a GIF here. So that's our 75, 18Z, 12Z, 18Z, OZ. And some of this is convective feedback, I'm telling you. There's definitely some convective feedback issues. This is causing havoc, I'm telling you. This guy out here is causing havoc. We still do have 3 days. We have 3 days to work with. We do have 3 days to work with. So the Euro is able to wrap some of this in this run. And you can see it. You see the connection here? The stream connection between these two? So the Euro is able to wrap some of this in, pull it in, start pulling convection in north, and that allows you to get at least a light to moderate area to break out over southern New England. And even though the main brunt still gets offshore, you can see you still get some light snow over southern New England. And then the Euro comes a lot closer. 0, 18Z, more expansive. See how like pulls north more than anything else? That low pressure ends up pulling farther north. That's the connection there. It really pulls everything farther north. This comes north, this comes north, this comes north. 500 looks better than the surface, I promise you. It pulls it further north. That's the gist. Go to 700 Vort here again. 0Z, 18Z. I'm telling you, 700 is better consolidated earlier. It's a stronger storm earlier. Under the hood. Under the hood. See that? It's going to pull, look at this, 18Z to OZ. It's going to pull all this in more here. So that's what you're going to do at a minimum. I'm sure the easterly ridge is better as well. Look at that in a second. But let me clip this GIF here. GIF, compare runs. You get to see me live tweet. I don't know, people always like when I live tweet. They like seeing it. I'm not sure why, but appreciate everybody here in the YouTube right now and X. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button, baby. Can't say it enough how much it really helps. I keep saying it. I know it's repetitive for some, but helps a lot. So I appreciate it. So let's see. 0, 0, Z, 0, 12, T. Believe it, we're a week away from Christmas. Santa's coming in a week. Lethal Shooter reference for OZ-NAM. So here. Boom. I'm not a spelling champion. Oh boy. All right. Slide here to, let's look at 500 heights. Wonder if it'll be more visible here. 500. You see it now. You see it. Look at that on 500. You see how we're pulling it in? We pulled it in north, consolidating it. That's the base. This is what matters more. Down here. wrapping this in to here, because the more you can wrap it, even though it looks like more of a shift north, what happens is it pulls everything in more. It pulls everything in more sooner, and it gets directed more north instead of east. So I bet you if I go to the P-type map here, I'm going to take a shot here and say that the easterly extent of the precip, at least the southeasterly part, it gets pulled in more, which it does. It's more visible. The P-type change is more visible here on the North America than it is at on the United States, at least for so. It is a little tilted because it is North America, but let me go to 500 heights. Let's take a sip of water. Strong IVT. I will say the P-type map will not reflect IVT well. The P-type map, do not look at the P-type map. Just don't look at it in general right now. Use it as a reference. But I really encourage you all, when you open a model, do not look at the P-type map first. Look at 500 Vort first. Try to develop an opinion on that, and then look at P-type. That's just that's my take. Like, if you really want to understand the stuff, look at 500 millibar vorticity and height before you look at the P-type map. It changes your perspective so much, because then you'd be like, something's off here. Why didn't that match? Because then there's maybe something else you weren't looking at. Be like, oh, now it makes sense why that happened. Or you're like, no, the P-type map does not reflect how good of a change or what actually happened on that run, or how bad. Now you can clearly see around 500 height, you're wrapping it in further. You've wrapped it in the base of your trough further west here. It's very obvious. Not a massive change here on the easterly ridge, but you did strengthen it here some as well. You did strengthen this part in, forcing, again, like we talked about, more convection north, which we talked about on 500 vorticity. This is heights, remember? And backs off a little bit here in the westerly ridge as well. So following the same as those other models we saw well. But again, I love to change the orientation, this ridge, force it just a little bit farther north. Again, this guy is going to play havoc as well. This will keep messing with our westerly ridge. So the movement is not done. What you see now is not the end result. This will keep going. This westerly ridge will keep moving back and forth. Same with the easterly ridge. The question is, can we move it further west more than east, that easterly ridge, and can we push this further west, at least down, especially down here, than east, so we can allow this trough to sink in a little bit more, wrap sooner, consolidate sooner, closer to the coast, get more people involved. That's it. That's the big end goal solution here. Again, you're just a little too late here on this run. Just a little too late. But you're getting closer. You're getting closer. You just got to go a little bit sooner. A little bit sooner. That west, if we can get a little cooperation, we got cooperation on 0Z from our easterly ridge. Now if we can get a little cooperation here from our westerly ridge out here, that would be golden. That would be golden, ladies and gentlemen. That is what you're looking for. I think that is a huge factor. And again, you see how these height lines, how they tilt. Get these to tilt further this way rather than here. Would be a very, very important factor. Very important factor, because again, allows your trough to sink in more. You want your trough to be able to sink in further south and west, further south southwest. Is the euro good for Philly snow? So the euro is slightly improved for all snow for everybody. But the IVT does set up right over Philly on this run specifically. That's where the isobars invert on this run. And appreciate all my lovely people in here watching right now. Very, very helpful. Again, if you're new here, consider subscribing. Hit that like button as well if you haven't already. It does help me tremendously. So keep rolling along here. Let's see, have the EPs started to roll out yet? I'd assume not. I assume not, given the euro hasn't finished, but always worth a look. We have not. We have not initialized the EPs yet. So I don't think we stay on. Man, get this into Southern New Hampshire. I feel you. I feel you. You're close. You're just not close enough right now. That's reality. And again, maybe this is the peak. Maybe this OZ is the max of our shift. In the next couple of days, we send everything back forth. That's entirely possible. That is entirely possible. I would say, though, with convective feedback, and given that we still all this energy is out here, here's why I say this thing isn't going to go so far out to east. Is because you still have this convection. You still have this convection out. You see this convection out here that we've been talking about? That's left behind from your previous system, the one that comes in tomorrow. These two are going to come together at some point. So the closer you just put this to this energy now, you're still going to get enhanced. It just might be a little bit later. So this isn't going to go so crazy. So this is why, regardless, there's going to be likely inverted trough. There's going to be inverted trough stuff to look at for Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, regardless of what happens with the bulk, the main show. It's just if you wrap this in, it's a completely different ball game. And then if you wrap this, if this comes in sooner at the right angle, the angle of which this vort comes into is huge. If it does not come in at the right angle, and it's not, we want it to be as close as parallel with the base of the trough as the angle of this base of the trough as possible on the southwest side, versus like being a kicker and pushing it out further and broadening our trough. We don't want that to happen. So that's why I'm saying that this will come in steeper if your ridge is angled more this way, here out west. But that's kind of what I look at with that piece and why this piece is important as well. And again, kind of how this comes in too. You see this like this mess here associated with the polar vortex. This is all your cold air, so this is an important part. But how this comes into the backside here too is also critical. And models kind of are all we saw. A little bit of a mini trend here, 18Z, 18Z and OZ. We've seen a little bit of a mini trend here, but we still have some nowhere near yet. And again, if this doesn't happen, I think the biggest thing will be you're just still too connected here to the polar vortex. You did not get enough stream separation between these two pieces. Your easterly ridge did not build back in enough. The angle of your westerly ridge continues to go this way, not allowing your trough to sit in, and you miss. That's just the reality. You still get inverted trough, and that could be very exciting, and that might be enough to give you guys a white Christmas because it's going to be cold after. Or even not a statistical white Christmas, a visual white Christmas where there is some snow on the ground. Statistically, the NWS says you need an inch of snow on the ground at 7 a.m. on Christmas morning. Supposedly, that's the official in your backyard, it's got to be covered with an inch of snow. So if your snow depth is not 1 inch on 7 a.m., you did not have a white Christmas. Sorry, that's how the National Weather Service decides. Hate to break it to you, but no, I mean, visually, this will produce some snow on the ground and will last. It will last too. So I guess a lot of people requested we can maybe see if that will the EPS initialize. EPS did initialize. Okay, so we can wait. We'll watch the EPS come out here, and let's talk about this Christmas storm that I guess people are talking about now. I've not paid attention close enough, just been too obsessed with tracking this, but it's like there's going to be some strong. We do have cold air to work with out ahead, and high pressure comes in behind it, and there is a big old vort that comes through here and kind of gets flattened out. So this high pressure kind of it has all this cold air out ahead of this system, and so naturally I would lean that the CAD would win out again. It would probably suppress the system some too, but you can see the Euro does show a little bit there on Christmas. I'm guessing the GFS showed more, and you even get almost a boundary that kind of sets up here, and a storm ends up does forming. And the CAD, look at that, it does work again. Doesn't even you don't even get that massive warm up after Christmas here on this run. The CAD stays around so much. So I guess Euro better again. We'll go to Strat Observe. Strat Observe and take a look at our polar vortex. We do have a warming event. To keep an eye on another one. You can see temps rising right now. So we're undergoing a minor southern I always get caught sudden stratospheric warming event, and then you can see again potentially start to rise again potentially, but again not significant, but the winds do go down, and then after temperatures rise towards the end. So we'll keep an eye on that. There is all models are kind of hinting that there is going to be at least another minor sudden stratospheric warming event. How that plays out at the surface, still hard to say. Still hard to say. It could delay again our January just a little bit, but not for long. Not for long. And even if it isn't favorable, it doesn't mean you still can't get snow. We've talked about this before. So for once, I played devil's advocate today, and some people didn't like it, but you can't worry about everybody's opinion on here. Just how it works. And then if we go to the GFS, we go here to upper heights and we go to 500. We can notice here that the GFS does a similar thing. It just has a little bit stronger, it looks like. Especially this looks to be wrapped in here. It's kind of a mess, to be honest. But you still have your high pressure in place, and that's your support. That's your cold air support right there, and you're able to get a Christmas snow event that turns to rain because you're pulling all this warm air up too far north here, and the CAD can only hold on for so long. So that wouldn't be fun. I mean, Christmas morning snow would be fun. It would not be fun to see it switch to rain, though, in the afternoon. That'd be disappointing if that were true. But this is a week out, so we're not really too concerned right now with this. All my attention is towards that. But one thing I will note in the long range is we let the EPS kind of cook here, the Euro Ensemble. If I slide out to North America, and if I go to upper wind here, you can see our Pacific jet is very strong. You see this out here? Very strong, and this extension comes out to the western U.S. and we get flooded. This ends up coming into the United States, and we get flooded with warm air here. I might sneeze in a second, so if you don't get concerned if you do. But that ridging comes over here into the U.S., and you can see that it really gets caught up in the flow and you're going to push warm air all across. That might have not been the best way to say it, but you're going to push warm air across a lot of the U.S. here, and it makes it hard for you to be able to get any significant snow event without the cold air really holding in. You might be able to hold it in long enough for Christmas, maybe, and you may be able to hold it in maybe just after if you're really lucky. But I would lean against it being cold here towards New Year's in the last time frame here in December. And so I would say this period here into that first week of January potentially as well. It might be warmer, but then we notice here if we go back to the 250 winds, it kind of gets broken up. That Pacific jet eventually does get broken up. Maybe not as much on this run, but it does eventually. And so we will return. It will likely be a shorter-lived warm up. It will not be a long-term torch. So don't get too worked up. Don't get too worked up about this. This warm up. It will warm up briefly, but we move into more favorable MJO phase here in January, and we'll move towards 7, 8, and 1 into January, and then we'll also the Pacific jet will also will not be as prevalent as it is about to be. Or as is currently, and that warmer air increases height anomalies across the U.S. and warmer air comes in here off the Pacific, ridging increases and makes it difficult to get a snowstorm for the eastern U.S., in particular I-95 corridor especially. All right, where are we at here? Where are we at, EPS? And I love how much quicker this loads now. I like that. I like that. Yep. Easternly ridge, again on the EPS, pushing further. These tight lines pushing further west here. Bueno, muy bueno. Yeah, if we could just do this sooner. You can see we separate a little bit. Just do that a little bit sooner. Break off that cold air, right? This is your source of cold air here. Break that off sooner, and you're gonna have your high pressure, in between here. But I mean, eventually, but we get this western ridge just a little bit, just the teensy bit to back off, especially on the southeast side of our western ridge. And it would really allow this trough to sink. And what also you would do here, if you do get this western just a little bit, you don't need a massive change. But you do need, if you get your eastern ridge to continue to keep doing this, you don't need a crazy westerly ridge change, even though it could happen because you have your storms that coming off the Pacific here, that the timing of when and the strength and the interaction that happens with those storms out here in the Pacific will play a huge part in what this ridge looks like. So that's going to be yet to be decided. So that will keep changing, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get too caught up on that right now. That westerly ridge will keep changing. So I have zero feel with that. I have zero feel. My bet would be with the storm being weaker that I would say there's a chance that this easterly ridge continues to build back in sooner and stronger, or at least further west than what's being projected. So that might, I would lean towards that. So that'd be a positive, but I do not have feel on the western ridge whatsoever. I do not have a weaker again on this run, which is positive in a sense if you're not going to change the orientation. But for me, again, I can't stress enough, change this angle further north. Get these height lines to build back in further north. Try to get a little bit more stream separation if possible. You may not be able to. You may not be able to. That's just reality. And we might have to accept this is not, we're not getting a snowstorm. That's just the reality. We may not be getting a snowstorm, especially for southern New England. Mid-Atlantic, it's going to be really hard. I struggle to see it for the Mid-Atlantic, but you might, for your standards are a little bit lower in inverted trough. No offense, but you guys know that. You're not expecting 12 to 18 with this one, or just in general most of the time. You're like, how can we just get a few inches, man? I know how you guys operate. Believe me, that's me right now a little bit too, especially in December. My goal is like, you know what, just get double digits. Double digits, that'd be a great start off to December. I have over 4 inches of snow right now, so this could be helpful. If I could get, a 3 or 4 here and an inch or two for the rest of December, that'd be awesome. But we'll see. Right here, your inverted trough. This is where your magic happens here in the Mid-Atlantic, I think, where it could be like a 1 to 3, 3 to 6, or it could be like, it could be more of a 2 to 4, 4 to 8 then. So I think that's kind of what we're talking about with inverted trough potential there. And sometimes there could be locally more higher totals in some of these scenarios, especially with elevation, better ratios. There's inverted trough potential here it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting, regardless of where our storm goes offshore. I can't stress that enough. What happens here? Yep. What I love too here on the EPS as well, a little bit more stream separation between these two, just minor. But again, if you keep changing minor details, if you continue, that's the key here. 060 guys are super important. It's super important. We need to be able to not revert back. You can maybe, if you take a minor step back at 06, if you take a minor step back at 06 and then you pull everything back on 12Z, or you minor tick on 12Z and then you have a significant tick on 18Z, then maybe. But we have to be by 12 18Z tomorrow. We have to be a good shift northwest, especially by OZ. We need to be at this time tomorrow night. We need to be another big shift northwest. So over the course of the 4 runs, the next 4 6-hour intervals, like we need to be back here 24 hours from now and being like, all right, there's this is like models are showing it, that precipitation, another 50 miles west or whatever. Like that's where we need to be. Like we need to be at this time another 50, 60 miles west at least tomorrow night. Anywhere in between that, it's like we're drawing at straws here. Even now, it's like the models. What they're showing right now is a coastal scraper, and that's 3 days out. So keep that in mind. Like people are like, it's out to sea, and it's like, even if you're basing that off what models show right now, I guarantee you there's some convective feedback issues here with models, and also. Slide here to, oh, I don't get that. And also, we come here, I guarantee they're showing convective feedback issues. The current P-type map is actually showing for the Cape and Islands and parts of Eastern Mash to get into it. That's like 3 days out. That's 3 days out. So like when you look at that, it's like dang. It's like dang. That's like you're. I know it's out to sea I know I have a lot of people that live here, but you have inverted trough potential here anyways. Like we're not looking, like really guys, you would need a drastic shift for this area to get. You need a ridiculously drastic shift. But what you do if you continue to amplify this sooner, your inverted trough here in the beginning continues to get enhanced, and you get a stronger convergence zone. Ergo, you get bigger snowfall totals. So you don't need this. You don't need this to get more snow. You don't need this to be an all out. You don't need this to be an all out snowstorm here to get important totals. Yeah, let me zoom in for you. I know that might be a little far out for people on the phone right now, but you don't need an all out snowstorm here. And that's not what we're expecting right now. Your convergence zone is what we're looking at. You need to amplify this convergence zone right here. And how you can do that is continue to amplify and consolidate your energy sooner so you can wrap in more precip sooner, and also you have stronger dynamics to work with sooner as well. You wrap in more cold air sooner as well. It's a chain reaction and you get more snow. The simple answer. That's exactly what you're trying to do here in the Northeast, in the southern Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. From New York City to the Delmarva, that's exactly what you're trying to do with this system. So for like, if you can say it's like out to sea coast, but like we're not looking for this here to shift to here. That's just not what we're looking for. Like that would be a crazy all-time model chaotic shift. That'd be an historic one. That'd be almost like what we saw last year, February, which was that was a big time historic shift. So I mean, models are currently showing right now a coastal scraper for the bulk of the precip. The bulk of the precip they're showing a coastal scraper, but the inverted trough potential, like even if this is light snow now, it's like it rots out. Look how many hours you snow here. These are 3-hour time frames. So it starts here, right? It's hour 63 across Pennsylvania, 66, 69, 72, 75, 78, 81, 84, 87, still light flurries. It's 24 hours of light snow for some people, at least. That's 24 hours of precipitation. That's a long time frame. Even if you're a light snow for that period, you do the math, you're going to accumulate some snow there. Let's say you went a 1/4 inch in an hour for 12 hours, and you went an 1/8 of an inch for the other 12 hours. If you do the math there, that's going to get you, what, 1.3 and, is that 3? Oh, crap. 2.5 times 12. I think that's 3. That's what, 4? That's over 4 inches of snow right there. You do the math. How many people would be happy with 4 inches of snow in the Mid-Atlantic right now? Especially towards the coast. I know a lot. You kidding me? People that just in Philly, you know how many people in here would be dying to get 4 inches of snow right now? Not literally, but I mean, so do the math there, and that's just what the current shows. This continues to get enhanced. You wrap in more cold air sooner. You have better dynamics, more precipitation, all the above. The stronger this storm gets. So I know we have people out here that are like, well, why do I really care about what's happening out here in southern New England? You should care because you're going to be able to get bigger inverted trough totals. It's a huge underrated part of this storm. So I'm going to continue to keep talking about that. Just got here. It says Mets enjoyer. How congrats on Soto, by the way. Disappointed as a Red Sox fan, but congrats on Juan Soto. You got a dog for sure. I just got here. How is the Euro looking? Euro was a great jump. That was another great jump. Surface does not really show the improvements he had at 500. 500. I think it was some convective feedback, but you did pull in this this excess here out ahead. You pulled this in sooner. Again, the sooner this pulls out, the more that gets left behind, Davey. Stronger your high pressure is out here, then this ridge, The more this gets wrapped in sooner, boom, 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 fireworks, bigger fireworks. Can't stress it enough. Super, super important aspect. There's so many little details that are going to get missed. I just spent the last like 5-10 minutes talking about the inverted trough freaking potential here for people to get like 3 to 6 inches of snow, maybe. Like I don't like that P-type map does not fully reflect. Like look how many hours. Like that's like some people are hour 63 here in Pennsylvania snowing, and go till like hour 87. They go like 24 hours straight of snow. And a lot of people are like 12 plus hours of snow. I mean, I think a lot of people would be happy. Bloody says, Brady, thanks for live streaming every night. Really appreciate it. Next 60 hours is going to be interesting. Is it possible New York City could get 1 to 3 inches of snow? It is possible. It is possible. I would say that is a very reasonable possible. If we really want to look at our drunk uncle here, said no, ma'am, I don't like the. I guess the euro is not bad, but let me look at the NAM here, and we'll look at the EPS again too, guys. Ensemble should be can look at all those individual members, see if we had anything there. This is not a verbatim P-type map. Before I show you guys this, remember, it's not. But you can see the isobars, they invert here. They invert, and so this precip, especially if stronger, see NAM probably even as much as it ends up consolidating it, it does love to be blotchy and consolidate. And the GFS, before I break down New York City, guys, in the inverted trough in the mid-Atlantic more, the GFS, we talk about it in the tropics, the GFS, and remember, for those that follow the tropics as well, look at CAGs, Central American gyres. So it's basically a convective pulse that happens here. It's like monsoon season basically for the tropics down here. And what allows to happen is a lot of times it allows the GFS to latch onto certain convective area, certain areas of convection, and take off. So you see a lot of times, especially with Sarah, Sarah, GFS really took off with that. But the one before it that ended up happening as well, there was one before that that models were late to catch, or GFS was too early on. And so it catches on, even though it's at the surface, it's different than 500 still, vorticity than we look at. It catches on, likes to catch on to these areas of convection and amplify them. And it sheds off, other parts. So, and the GFS will do that. And this is surface convection as well, especially. This stuff right here is going to show up at 850 still. See that? Lower levels. These are your showers and thunderstorms out here. Likely just rain for the most part. And the GFS loves to have convective feedback issues, meaning struggles to pull these in. Instead of amplifying the main area of energy, it amplifies the area too far east instead of the main area. Now, if you're too progressive with this would happen if you're too progressive with your trough and you do not go negative soon enough. Then this would I would absolutely I would buy into that, and that's why you're close, because some of these height lines. If I slide here to 500 height, some of these height lines are tilted positively. So that's why I'm like, it's hard, but we're still, all these height lines here, we're going upstream here. Especially this convection out here is not, these are not progressive. These are not as progressive as they are up here, tilted positive. If this convection out here gets pulled in sooner and these height lines, are screaming north-northeast in terms of direction here on the map, it's going to pull in this convection more than what's being depicted. And that's what you saw more. You saw the GFS adjust more than anything else, convective feedback issues. Same with the Euro. Euro struggles with it some as well at times. When we talked about it, it wasn't a major change on the GFS. But it gets pulled further north because it pulls in more convection. Pulls in this stuff down here into the storm a little bit better on this system, on this run. That's the change you see there. All right, let's freaking talk about. We'll look at the Euro ensembles in a second, but I promised I would talk about, for a bloody here, I'd talk about NYC inverted trough. So what you get here is these isobars invert like we've been talking about, and you get, I wouldn't worry about thermals this far out, but you get what, 3, 6, 9, 12. It's still snowing on this run, lightly snowing, but still snowing. Beautiful snow, tremendous snow, as one might say. Uh, you're getting snow, and you can see we look at 700, and you still have all that. Especially, it's more favored. Some of these dynamics are more favored further west, but the stronger your system gets, not only look how close, guys, at 700. That 700 is cooking right here. I'm telling you, that's heavy snow. That is heavy snow right there. Look how close you are. It's over Cape Cod. Cape Cod would be heavy snow here on this run. I'm telling you, that's close enough. 100%. 100% close enough. Cape Cod would be just on the skirt, if not. Oh, gosh, that NAM run was such a beaut. But you see how it like holds on to this stuff here? It's like amplifying this. Like that's not. Even though it's like it does maybe over amplify at the end, but it does. I mean, it does still hold on to this. So might rule out. It might cancel out a little bit, but you still have all this seven. Right, this is your main. Your trough is still back here. So all this energy back here is your main. So all the 700 dynamics still have to work through, and your isobars are inverting, throwing precipitation back onto this area, and you get inverted trough. You get snow, maybe some rain a little bit for briefly in the beginning at the coast, but as cold air continues to work through, it's snow. And if you go 12 hours of light snow in New York City, you're going to get 1 to 3 inches. That's bottom line. So the more earlier you strengthen, the stronger you get, the earlier you're going to get more amplified inverted trough early on. You might lose some late, but early on you'll get stronger dynamics, and you'll be getting more precipitation back into our system as well, being thrown back out here where those isobars are inverting, and that's where you get the inverted trough potentially. It's what makes it so fascinating. It's a you're backing the flow off the ocean into good mid low level dynamics. That's what makes inverted trough so special. We forecasted it last year, guys. We did it literally last January. We forecasted one. Did great. It's like a widespread 4 to 8 for many in Jersey and Delmarva. It's a fantastic event. Loved it. We were tracking that for days. I'm lucky. I did great on that. Give myself a pat on the back for that one. Those are hard. Those are hard to forecast, man. It's a specific area. You got to look where the isobars are going to invert, and you have to account for model errors as well. Yeah, you can see NAM does show heavy snow in Cape Cod. I'm telling you, that would be a banger of a run for Cape Cod if that was verbatim. All right, slide to what you guys want to look at here. It's the EPS. Appreciate you on the YouTube chat. If you're new, just coming in. If you've been in, forgot to, please hit that like button. It helps a lot there on YouTube. X, just keep enjoying your time there, doing what you're doing. If you want to switch to YouTube, you feel more comfortable there, whatever. I don't care. Just whatever you guys feel most comfortable watching. That makes me comfortable. So when you guys are comfortable, I'm comfortable. I'll be comfortable regardless. Yeah, we're pulling it further north. The beaut would be if you could amplify this and keep your trough base south. That's the golden child right there. If we can do that, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, baby. Things get real interesting if you do that. Yeah. Hey now. Let's go to Did we look at app site? We did. Let's go to panels. Let's go to U.S. regions. New England, very good. Very nice. Let's slide here to panels. Those app says 50 members, remember too. I already see some hits. Ho ho ho. See 16 with the southeastern New England hit. Inverted trough. See that inverted trough are stronger too on some of these, like 16. Get 15, get the job done. 9 is just, oh, it's just a tad late. Look at some of these runs too. Hit 13. Inverted trough on 2. It's lighter, but still. Some of these are just near misses, man, too. Some near misses. Ocean effect too. Keep an eye out after. I know. Surface winter. Oh no, I don't want to go there. That was 18Z. Some. What a dumb thing to do by me. I was looking at the 18Z Fs. Stupid. 3. All right. I mean, more runs closer, but less actual hits. At least on the first half here. Actually, isn't that what I was just looking at? I don't know. I don't know anything, guys. Kind of just go with the flow. Panels. Just a lot of close hits. Some actual hits for southeast New England, but inverted trough still there. Some of these will be greater than 10-1 on the backside towards the end of the storm, especially where more colder air in the upper levels will sink down, and it'll make it colder for higher ratios on the backside. There's a lot of close misses on the first round of the EPS here. Let's take a look at it. Boom, boom, boom. And just a lot of close misses. Not as many hits on this one, actually. Just a lot of close misses. Nothing crazy on the EPS, but I'm telling you, the 500 height and Vort, they both looked similar to the operational and better. I think that westerly ridge, not like staying the same, is different. So it just kind of pushed a lot of the stuff north versus west on some of these totals. It's hard to compare individual ensemble members to each other from run to run, though, I will say. So a lot of close misses. That's really it. Some farther than others, but no massive change here on either the EPS or the GFS. Honestly, though, I do like models being a little bit different. Sometimes I do. I don't like it when models are both like copycatting each other from run to run. Sometimes I know that I say the opposite sometimes, but when they're following like too close in the exact changes that are happening, it's like, okay, it's like, which one of you is just going to be wrong first? That's really it for me. That's really how I look at it. Like, because these models are not great. They're not great consistently. It's amazing what they can do now, but they're not super. They're not going to nail a system 3 days out. And so it's like, where are you going to change? How much are you going to change, and where? Will it show here? I wonder if it'll show here. but it's too far out. Oh, but yeah, hold it further north. Don't look at the L, especially the inverted trough here. That's a mean of all the ensemble members. Close. We're close. Not close enough. That's reality. Still not quite close enough. So we gotta wait this out. You need to keep ticking northwest. You don't have a lot of margin for error. You can't do what you did again. You can't do the same thing you did at 06 to 12Z that you did and expect to get the same big changes that we had at 18Z and OZ tonight and happen. We can't go in the same routine. We really need to see 06Z cooperate. 06Z has been a killer of momentum the past 3 runs now. So we really need 06Z to start cooperating here. Otherwise, it's no bueno. There's no bueno. We need 06Z to cooperate here. Big time. We don't have a ton of margin for error here, ladies and gentlemen. We just don't. We do not. See, Kevin said earlier, trying to will the storm like 100 miles east here. Oh, I'm trying to do east. Oh, here. 100 miles. I think you meant west, Kevin, earlier. But yes, we do want to will this storm. We do want to will this storm further west. You're about 2 frames away from southeastern New England getting a big snowstorm here on the GFS and the Euro, really, too. Really, in reality, you're about 2 frames away. If you can go 1 frame earlier, you can be here. Now we're talking again too. Wrap. See how this kind of gets sheared out still. So again, it all plays a part. Your westerly ridge, your easterly ridge out here, they all play a factor. They all play a factor in how this plays out. You want to wrap again. This upper level low, guys. It wants to consolidate. It wants to wrap here. It does, but it's unable to. It's unable to as efficiently as we need it to. Again, what makes that easier? More streams, simply trapping the trough a little bit earlier is what I've been calling it. Trapping the trough. Otherwise, it's not. Yeah, this misses. This misses. That's the reality. And it's again, even we miss, we still get inverted trough. So like I can't say like there's snow potential here regardless. And I think we can hold. I think we can hold where we are. I don't think we can go so much further east. That easterly ridge is going to be prevalent. You would really need this westerly ridge would really need to push this, and it would prevent any consolidation. And it wouldn't push the storm further east, but it would delay consolidation, and so the precip would not consolidate soon enough, and so the precip would be further east, even though our energy would not move further east. So again, we need western ridge cooperation. Send this further northeast, these height lines. Build back in these height lines over here and here. Allow this convection out here. Pull it in sooner. Pull it in sooner. It could really change. This is such a wild card factor here. There's not one thing here that's going to define the storm. I'm telling you right now. There's not going to be one, unless the change was so drastic, which I don't think is going to happen. Well, I shouldn't say that. Unless there was a change that was so drastic, there's not one thing that is going to define this storm. The polar vortex up here, your easterly ridge back here, your westerly ridge out here, this piece that comes in behind it, your convection out here, this cutoff low way out here. There's so many different pieces that are at play here. So many different pieces at play here. It's not going to be one thing that defines this. I promise you guys. I promise you, it's not going to be one thing. So like there might be one there's like the most important that I ended up going with was ridging, but it could end up being this piece right here. And that it could be connected to the ridging being further west as well, pushing this further southwest. So there's a multitude of different factors at play here that I don't think can be underestimated enough to put it simply. I know that sounds like cliche, but it's very true. I wouldn't be saying nothing I say for me is cliche here. Everything I say is 100% what I'm thinking. It's absolutely what I'm thinking right now. Like I'm literally just relaying to you guys all my thoughts and trying to point out the most likely scenario of where we're heading. That's really it. That's all I'm trying to do. Right now, to sum it up, we have inverted trough is becoming more increasing likely, especially for Pennsylvania, Jersey, New York City, Delmarva. If we do push further east, there could be another inverted trough area that sets up over New England. And then at the moment, we have models showing a coastal scraper. That's what we have right now, models showing. It is going to be an interesting 48 hours in those next couple days, and we'll see where we lead to here. We're still about 3 days out, and we're getting closer. But you need to continue to trend westerly. You need the westerly trend here. You need it to continue. It's non-negotiable. Unless you live in like Nantucket, Cape Cod, then you can kind of live with what you got now on models. Eastern New England has the most margin for error with this system. I could even argue not. I could argue inverted trough over PA and New Jersey and Delmarva and New York. I could argue they have the most highest floor. But to get hit by the bulk of the storm, it's not even close. It's Eastern New England with the highest upside here. So yeah, that sums up my thoughts. We had another great stream tonight, guys. I appreciate you all coming in. Let's do it again. Total, we had over 800 people come in here on X and over here on X and YouTube. So, or is that just X? Yeah, just X. Over 790 people, and I'm sure we had nearly 200. We have hundreds more here on YouTube. So I appreciate whoever that came in. Follow my stuff on X. We're gonna keep going here. We're gonna see this through to the end.